let me introduce to the stage Riz Sardar.
All right, take two. No, it just goes to go that we can plan as much as we want, but we need to stay adaptable. So that's the main thing. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised when I'm flicking through this and I don't see my slideshow. So, all good. Thank you, guys. Hope everybody's still engaged. I'm not going to run too long, hopefully. I know you guys are probably hungry, early morning out. We have lunch ready, so I'll go through this. And I'll start off with a little bit of an introduction about myself, my journey, where we are at now, and so Sardar Capital. So this has been in the works for about coming up to 4 years now, 3 years. I started off as a regular trader. That's it. So my background, I came pretty much from nothing. My parents migrated to the UK with almost nothing. We came to the UK in 2004, and ever since then, it has always been inside of me that, okay, you work hard, go to school, university, job, security, because we have no other choice. We have to make it out. So yeah, that was kind of pretty much my journey. Early on in my years, when I was like 15, 16, I always wanted to do something for myself. My dad was a business owner, but unfortunately had lost his business. So I have seen both sides of business, and I know trading is not for everybody as well. So fast forwarding, coming into my uni years, again, my journey is recorded with Riz, so you can watch his podcast. I go in detail, so I don't want to go too much. But yeah, coming into the uni years, so I was always doing something on the side. So at uni, I had a small venture business, but I knew inside of me I want to do something for myself. So the reasoning why I went to do uni was for my parents. At the end of the day, they had seen business fail, so they were like, look, at least with a degree, you have security. And I say this to everybody who's trying to trade as well, who want to do full-time trading, that it is good to have some sort of security as well, because this path is not for everybody. As harsh as it's going to sound, I don't want to break anybody's dream, but it can be very, very tough when you're in the process and you're not seeing results. And this is an industry where you're not necessarily rewarded for the amount of hours you put in, for the amount of work you put in, at least straight away, for at least maybe the first 2 years. Well, I can say from my own experience at least. So I started off with trading whilst I was at university. Going back to this almost 2016 when I was exposed to the space, and I've always been a numbers guy. I done my master's in engineering, focused on machine learning and artificial intelligence. I know there was a question about artificial intelligence, so I'm happy to go through that as well. But yeah, so during my uni years, I was exposed to the trading space, and it picked up my interest. And I was like, you know what? This is something I actually see myself doing. And I've always been somebody who's liked the finance space, the whole, I don't want to go too deep into the Wolf of Wall Street, but that is my favorite movie. So a little bit of that. And even when I started off, for me, the biggest thing was, the reasoning behind it was, I see there's really no ceiling in the space, in the sense that when you do the numbers, if you can pick up the skill of, let's say, 2 to 4% a month, and that is what I advocate for as well, is as a trader, if you can prove yourself to at least take from the market between 2 to 4% a month, you could be amongst the 0.001% in the industry, purely because as you have more capital, with, for example, the prop space that we have right now, Alpha providing the capital. So if you can prove yourself the skill on a 100K account even, if you can do 2 to 4% a month, you are pretty much on average getting the normal income replacement. So for anybody who is here who wants to take trading full time, I advocate for having something on the side until the skill can basically pay your expenses. So I started off with prop trading. My journey started with 2016. Prop trading came around, I would say, early 2019 to 2020. That was when I was kind of exposed to it. And at that time, we had FTMO. That was the firm I was with. So started off there, and then from then onwards, for me, once I started to see what kind of results you can get out of here, I was like, look, I want to take this on a long-term vision. So for me, it was then, okay, I want to build my track record. With a verified track record, we can approach investors. And that is how Sardar Capital came about. So 2021, we started off with having our track record started off. And yeah, so a little bit about the company, what we're doing. So we're currently headquartered in Dubai. That is our main office. We're here in London as well. And from our most recent audit, which is from last month, currently managing 25 million in management. And yeah, so that's just a little bit about myself. And what we focus on is statistical driven models, data driven, and we are also using a lot of artificial intelligence. So automated trading alongside human input. And that is where the key difference is. So you can't just, for example, go online and buy a trading bot, because it might do well month 1, month 2, but then the drawdown that get hit, your gains are going to get wiped pretty much. So there has to be an element of actual human input who can assess the market and then adjust the systems that we have running. So I have a team. We have a team of about 20 people now, and is based off engineers, quant traders, research analysts, a lot of back-end. And yeah, and for myself, where I was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and being here now today, it has been a journey. And I can only really say that, you know, as long as you stick to your vision, as long as you stick to what you want to achieve, you put in the hard work, and then the opportunity comes across, you meet the right people, and then, yeah, it just kind of goes from there. And it's been very, very exponential. For the first almost 3 years, I didn't really see anything coming out of the markets. There was a point where I almost thought, okay, is this something for me? And at that point, at my lowest points, who was there for me was my family. So today as well, my brother is here. And if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for my family who supported me at the times where I thought, you know, this is going nowhere, I wouldn't be here today. So I know there's a lot of traders here, and I get often messages and questions about, you know, when you're going through dark times, when you almost want to give up. You're seeing some results, but you're not seeing consistency. The equity path is like, there's no, it's just up and down pretty much. And the only really thing I can say, and it's because I've been through this as well, is as long as you stick to it, and yeah, and a lot of it is about taking the bad habits out. So when did I start seeing real results? Is when I took a step back from pretty much everything. So I, got rid of everything, social media, and just really just went in, focused on myself, and I was like, look, I understand the technicals. I've always been a technical trader as well, by the way. And also the other thing, I feel like you have to have an edge in the market. If you don't have an edge in the market, you can work as much as you want on psychology, on anything else, but the edge in the market is pretty much, if you want to compare it to like a car, if you don't have an engine, that car is not going anywhere. So you can work as much as you want on the tires, on all other parts, but if the engine is not running, the car is not moving. So you have to have a proven, profitable edge in the market. And to me, an edge is if the edge can perform at least between 2 to 4% a month, which I think is quite reasonable. So a little bit about the company, a little bit about myself. So I done my degree here in London, and so what the company's aim is long-term gains. We're not here for 10, 20% a month. And what we want to give back to our investors is consistent returns. So just a little bit about myself and why I'm here, and how all of this was driven off. So mechanical, systematic trading. So what is exactly mechanical trading? And a lot of people confuse the thing. It's a term that is out there often, but it is basically trying to take away as much as possible of discretionary. So when you're at the charts, the market is very, very complex itself, and especially in real time. And then there comes the pressure of capital. So when it comes to the charts, you need to operate as much as possible, almost like a machine. Meaning, when you have seen something play out for thousands of times, repetition. So for me, for example, I come to the charts, I can recognize straight away if it's a market that I want to be involved in or not. So when I come to my trading session, I can see, is today a day I want to engage with the market, yes or no? Also, the other thing is where I feel like a lot of the traders, why they don't cross that path necessarily is because the bad habits are holding them back. So impatience, not being able to follow their plan, not having a plan itself. So mechanical trading is that element that we want to take as much discretionary away as possible. It's not 100% possible, but when we create a system in a way where we know exactly what we're looking for, we know exactly what times we want to be engaging with the market, and when we don't want to be involved in the market, that's also a big thing. Because, for example, this week, we didn't trade this week, NFP week. But last week, we done really, really well. So it's that element of understanding that, okay, look, when the market provides, take what it gives you. And then sitting on capital, sitting on cash is also a position. So how do we develop the mechanical and systematic trading systems? Is having predefined rules, backtesting and data. The more data you have, the more confidence you have in the system, the more, so more confidence in the system. So people ask me, how long should the data be? That's like asking how long the string is. It is essentially about the more data you have, the more confidence and reliability in the system. So, and then it's about also, and then the hardest part comes, okay, you can have a plan, you can have a system, but then as a human, you have to follow this plan. And that, again, it can be a roadblock. So it's not just about having a plan, it's about following the plan as well. So for me, for example, I can give everybody my plan here right now, and then tomorrow, Monday market opens, how many would be able to follow that plan as well? So there comes another element of, okay, we have to practice those behaviors. So for me, what does it look like? This is very, very vague, but this is something that is what I look at, for example, when I come to my session. So when I open up my charts, or normally I do my analysis on a Sunday, and on a Sunday I like to see, okay, look, what is the market telling me? At the end of the day, the charts we're looking at is data, and what we're doing is we're interpreting this data. So when I come to the charts on a Sunday and I'm trying to analyze for the week ahead, I'm looking at, okay, look, first of all, my trading session, I look at, okay, look, do I have a clear daily bias? So I want to be trading with the trend of the market. I want to be trading in line with the market. And yeah, so for me, the first thing I always look at is, do I have a clear daily bias, yes or no? If I do not have a clear daily bias, that to me is a low probability condition market. You can trade this market, you can trade low probability market conditions, but are you going to be at your optimal performance? Most likely not. You can trade the market, you can trade counter trend, you can trade anything you want, you can scalp, but I know that for my system to work, we want to be in high probability conditions. So, okay, we pass on the first thing, so we have a clear daily bias, we are understanding what the market is going to. Is the trading area we're trading from valid? So again, another question that comes up, yes or no? No, and then again, it comes back to low probability conditions. Do we have clear liquidity targets? So it's flowchart following the checklist. And that is for me pretty much how I approach it. Is my entry direction aligned with daily bias? My data shows to me my most profitable trades are the ones that are in line with daily bias. Do I have an entry confirmation? Again, yes, and then I can execute the trade. And that is pretty much as mechanical. Of course, it gets a lot deeper than this, but just to bring the point across, that is pretty much what we look at. And then and this goes for my manual trading. So when the market is low probability, we want to be avoiding trading. And then, yeah, that is pretty much how it is when you're operating. Yeah, I would say as professional as possible, you have to be, just because of the way the market is. Because there is such a low entry barrier, there's nobody to hold you accountable. That is why the failure rate is so high as well. But as long as we can condition those behaviors, we can work on those behaviors, and this is a thing that takes time. A lot of people are not willing to submit time to the skill. If you look at any professional sports, for example, if you want to be a professional Formula 1 driver, if you want to be a boxer, if I say tomorrow I feel like, you know what, I want to take on boxing just because of it's my dream. I just want to start off boxing. You're not going to expect me to be seeing in the ring in the next 6 months. It's going to take time. You're going to pick up the skills, you need to improve those skills. And then with time, eventually, maybe 2-3 years down the line, maybe I get there. You can hire the best coach that you like, but at the end of the day, if you don't put in the hours, if you don't put in the practice, if you don't, if you're not in the gym twice a day, for example, because if you study the athletes, if you study McGregor, any of the big athletes who have achieved, and study their mentality, study their mindset, study their approach. So yeah. That leads on to the trading checklist and trading plan. So for me, I would like to define my session, the trading